the birthplace of Kool-Aid, the state drink, and one of my favorite drinks growing up, and Carhenge, a replica of Stonehenge made from 38 automobiles.
It's also the site of a lighthouse without an ocean and the largest mammoth fossil on display anywhere in the world. And speaking of fossils, it's also the home of the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett.
We're talking about the 37th state in the U.S., which was acquired during the Louisiana Purchase.
You're listening to Queer Money episode number 427, and today we're talking about the most affordable LGBTQ plus friendly city in the state of Nebraska.
Now on with the show. The mission of Queer Money is to financially empower the LGBTQ plus community. Join us in thanking Capital One for supporting that mission. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Queer Money podcast. As we said in the outset, we're coming to you from Nebraska. Well, not physically. We're actually just talking about the state of Nebraska. So some things to keep in mind when we're talking about Nebraska is that when we looked at the cities, there wasn't a huge disparity when it came to almost all of these categories. For example, when it came to rents, there's basically a range of less than $300 that separates the top from the bottom, with the exception of one outlier, which was pretty expensive. That was Kearney, Nebraska for rents. The cost of living, also a very narrow range between 87.1 and 94.9. Home values, again, range between $180,000 and $278,000, which is odd because there are some states where we saw the distance between the highest and lowest was $278,000. Some states were way more expensive when it comes to the cost of living or have a much broader range. And so when we look at Nebraska, what it really came down to is how well did you do on HRC's MEI index, and what was the cost of living? One thing to note, Nebraska, you got to do a better job. Not a single city got a 100 on the HRC MEI index. You got to do a better job because Oklahoma's kicking your butt. They have at least one city. Actually, I think they have 2 or 3 cities that are doing better than Nebraska cities.
Yeah. So what is the runner-up for the most affordable LGBTQ plus friendly city in Nebraska? Well, speaking of Omaha, it is Omaha. Congratulations. And why is that? Well, because it has one of the highest scores on the HRC MEI, and that's at 85. Not the 100 that we're looking for, but close and within reach. Home values are average $273,000 on average per property. Rents come in at $1,292 on average per month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Cost of living is 92.9%, so below that national average. Average incomes are $73,000 per year, and median incomes come in at $55,000 per year.
Yeah, one of the things to note about Omaha, I think because of Warren Buffett being there, it has become somewhat of a financial center for the middle of the country. So if you're looking to get into the financial services industry and you're in the center of the country, it may not be a bad place to think about going to. Tired of all the credit card offers you get from your current credit scoring app? Download CreditWise by Capital One today to avoid them. Who's the winner? Well, the winner is the Cornhuskers, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are based in Lincoln, their biggest football team, which I've heard this statistic. I'm not 100% sure if it's true, that on Saturdays when the Cornhuskers play, the size of the city doubles because of so many people coming into the city. So why did Lincoln end up our winner? Well, that's because it did get the highest MEI score, and that was at 92. So again, just out of reach of that 100. Home values came in at $270,000, and rents came in at $1,233. Cost of living came in at 92.7%. One of the interesting things about all of those is they were not the highest, so that's partly why it got bumped up. Average income came in at $62,000, and median income came in at $50,000, which is a little bit lower than the top of the state.
Yep. So what makes Lincoln so great? Well, here are some things. Little known trivia for you that might interest David of all people. It was originally named Lancaster before it was called Lincoln, and named in honor of Abraham Lincoln. After he passed away, it was named after Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Okay.
It also has a great arts and culture scene. They've got the annual Lincoln Arts Festival, the Sheldon Museum of Art, and the Lied Center for the Performing Arts.
It's also the home of Sunken Gardens and Pioneer State Park for nature lovers. It has an offbeat and deeply engaged LGBT community per Queer in the World. And Outlink is a large LGBTQ plus organization that does things all throughout the year. And of course, it does have an LGBTQ center that you can support locally. Annual Pride is usually in mid-July. And if you're listening or watching to this when this episode comes out, again, like last week, you just missed it.
But with all that being said, congratulations, Omaha and Lincoln. Financial independence with a checking and savings account that doesn't nickel and dime you with fees. Get a Capital One 360 checking or 360 performance savings account at Capital One today. Thank you for watching or listening to another episode of Queer Money. On next week's bonus Queer Money episode, we're going to cover the most affordable LGBTQ plus friendly city in Big Sky Country, Montana.
As always, if you would like to see the results of this growing list of cities that we're doing an analysis of, you can go to queermoneypodcast.com/cities or click the link in your podcast player or the description of this video. Thanks again and have a great week.